Okay, what's going on out there, everybody? It's the Samuel Legger here, representing Team JBS, back here again with my man Lucas. We are about to give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly,
and the power,
and
the power walk of Lovecraft country.
Okay, this was episode 9, Rewind. From the last episode, the Jigaboos got your girl D. She got caught up. And so finally, everybody cares about her. Everybody is there, giving her undivided attention that she is slowly getting consumed by this curse that's going up her arm. And everybody is in arms to try to reverse the process and willing to do whatever to do so. Even call Christina. So
even come back from space and time with no explanation. Not a single one. Not a single one.
Look, we ain't got there yet. We gotta wait. We gotta wait on that because I got my own feelings about that. But so the crew, they get the understanding that she has been cursed, and they do call Christina, and Christina was like, "Look, I don't know if I can really help her, and even if I can, I need something in return." And I was like, "Y'all ain't got no leverage." Because y'all ninjas don't talk, y'all don't communicate. They gave up their pages. Atticus is just like, and they still talking like they don't. Everybody knows that she's pregnant, except they haven't communicated with each other. And I was like, how does that make sense? How does that not make sense? Like, there's no reason for him not to know. Why wouldn't you tell him that and there's no reason for her not to know. But anyway. That's neither here nor there. The reality is, from this point, they decide they're gonna have to go and get the book. But the only way they can get the book is to go into the past. And yeah.
And the past is, ladies and gentlemen, the past. So the past is going back to Tulsa in 1922. I shouldn't have to tell you all what that means to go back in Tulsa in 1922, because you saw it perfectly done in the first episode of The Watchmen. And Lovecraft Country said, "Hey, Watchmen, hold my beer, and we're going to do it." And boy, did they do it.
So the polarizing thing about this is when they do get back to the 1921. I'm trying to get a picture of it really quick. There we go. They're like, okay, we need to go and try to infiltrate because they look too modern. And so one thing I don't know, I felt like it was kind of campy and cheesy, but I did appreciate, I guess, is, they got to really show a little bit more broader scope of Black Wall Street, like not just the town, but watching like the different businesses, watching the different people with houses. And there's one thing that happens at this specific moment, and when Montrose decides to go with them because he wants to try to protect, his grandson and do the right thing. But you get to witness Montrose's backstory. Now, the thing I loved about this episode, probably the only thing I really loved about this episode.
You can say it. Yep. The only good part about this episode is Montrose's story.
The arc that they've given Montrose, honestly, is the most fulfilling arc in this entire season. And Michael Kenneth Williams in this episode pretty much destroys every scene he's in, whether it be the moonshine moment, whether it be him at the barn, but specifically there's a scene that happens, while he's in the alleyway with Tick, and like him kind of confessing to Tick pretty much everything that's kind of happening, and Tick kind of breaking down. Like, I felt like there were so many amazing moments with them together that this was their episode. This was their back and forth. This was what was needed to help, finalize, at least Montrose's story, in my personal opinion. Regardless if he dies next episode or not, I feel like they gave him...
He dies.
They gave him his due in this specific episode. It was just...
Monologues included. Included, because he had at least 3 monologues in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. But again, he's a great actor. So just to see him act, it's worth the price of admission here. You kind of want to forget everything else in the episode happened. But, hey, if you're coming to see Montrose and his story, his heartbreaking, gut-wrenching story, maybe this is for you. Some people are going to absolutely love it. I'm not going to say what group of people are going to actually love it, but you should know at this point the group of people that's going to really, really love it. Other people may find the moments at times too clichéic.
Yeah,
like it comes across as that. It comes across as them going out of the way to make you cry. Quickly, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to let Sam finish. So last year we saw a movie short, and it was called Slave Cry. And as I was watching this, I kept on thinking of that short. And the short whole purpose was to make black folks ugly cry on television. And they pulled it off here. Because that's what happens. And once it happens too often. But Mike's performance is so great in it, you kind of want to forget it and just settle in on him and Atticus's relationship and how everything is working out with them. The conflict that we're finally addressing, that George might be his father, and them having to deal with that revelation that it's a possibility that George was his father, and Tick having to relive to understand that maybe, just maybe, the way he was raised was a good thing.
Yeah, because the beginning of the episode, when he got the revelation that it could be his dad, he was beside himself. He was compromised. It wasn't even, he couldn't even be mad. He was just done. He was like, wait.
All the years I was praying that George was my father, and you're telling me he is he took it as word of gospel. Montrose told him it was a dance. And Tick automatically took it no, he is my father.
Yeah.
Which had to hurt Montrose, and I love the way he played up how much that hurt him without him overly showing emotion that he was hurt by him, really going that hard about it.
Yeah, and that paid off later on when they were in the alleyway, when he was kind of describing to him, look, I took all these beatings, I took all these things, and I allowed myself the softest part of me to die because I wanted you in this world. And it broke Tick, for real. And I was kind of just I almost shed a thug tear myself. I'm not gonna lie to you, because that it did emotionally resonate with me, because I was kind of just that's rough. You know what I'm saying? That's real. That's real emotional compromise.
I think it was pertaining to that scene as a whole, as we get Montrose with his they're back to the future at this point. So now he's seeing himself in the past and the future. So him seeing his young self with his first love and wanting to stop his first love from dying, but knowing if he stops it, it's a chance that Tick is never born. And the moment he says, I'm fine, it's just something else I had to give up for you to be my son. That's where the emotion will get to people, because again, Michael does a great job at that scene, and Jonathan does too. This boy can cry on a dime, no issue, Joe. No issue. Boy can cry on a dime, Joe. So between them two crying, and then they're crying, and then they get the emotions involved in it. I understand. And then the way they focus in on the shot of both of them two at that point is really gets people.
Man, look, I ain't gonna go there.
Exactly.
We got to talk about we talked about the good. We gave you guys the good. Please hear it. Please hear it. Please know we do talk about everything.
Yes, please hear it like y'all didn't hear us about Emmett Till last week. Just hear it this week, though. Hear it this week. Hear it this week. Now let's get to the bad.
We got.
I don't know if we have the same bad though. I don't know if we have the same bad because we ain't talking about this beforehand at all.
We never do. We never talk about anything ahead of time. We always meet in the middle some kind of way.
I'm gonna say the bad. I'm gonna say my bad. My bad is Miss Power Walker. That's my bad because Letty in this episode, besides her power walking everywhere, is absolutely useless. Just a waste. An absolute waste. This entire God damn it, that picture. Like this listen. I hate her in this episode. I hate this moment, especially. It is bombs and everything going around and off around you, and it's a time frame that y'all got to get back before the robot that's in this episode explodes, and she is slowly power walking. Why do you all make her power walk? I need to see Juicy Smoulay's sister to find out if she actually power walks all the time. Because I don't remember her power walking this much in Birds of Prey. And she power walks every time in this. It was just, they ruined a chance here. This could have been a really good episode for her. A really good episode, especially pertaining to the book that she has in her hand. That's the reason they went back in past. That could have been a really powerful moment there. And instead, we wasted by her power walking everywhere, everything, not making much sense of doing anything. And how do we go back to the 20s, find 3 perfectly good outfits that fit all of them greatly, and yet she decides not to take off her sneakers? Like, they wouldn't notice that and be like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah, so she's my bad. Go ahead, Sam.
So some of you guys that take our words out of context, we're not saying that he didn't find it. Like, the clue was there. They were in this hotel. In the hotel, there was like some clothes to the side, so that's how they got him. So don't come for Lucas. I'm just letting you know. And then if you want to be particular about it, the great grandmother was like, yo, I knew there was something wrong with them shoes. Like, so okay.
I knew something was wrong with those shoes. Yeah, they don't belong in this time period. Yes, they did go shopping they did go stealing clothes from a hotel, but amazingly, they stole it on a rack. What are the chances of me or anyone walking into a place and finding your Go ahead, Sam.
Bruh, them suits, first off, my man Atticus, that suit was dapper. That joint looked like it fitted, bruh. I was like, yeah, that's a bad suit.
To a T, it was fitted.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when I think about Letty in this episode, I feel like things were okay up until the moment she went upstairs rummaging around looking for the Guy Stern book. Because I was kind of like, she knows what happens. Like, she knows in that house. I think that Montrose described, like, everybody in the house got burned alive.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when she went in there, she had to know she was going into the place that everybody was going to die. And she was going to have to allow it to happen. Now, I feel like initially when she was like listening to the little girls, like, is everything going to be okay? You think it's going to be okay? What should I do? And she kind of just was like, no, just go upstairs. I was like, bruh, if that was me, I would be breaking down. I would be in the corner just crying. I might actually low-key just go out, and just leave.
That's the wasted moment. That's like the moment.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this whole entire time, if you go like episode 1 or episode 3, she does that deep kind of emotional pain very well. And the only moment in this episode that I kind of felt like she was, maybe tapping it is when the grandmother was literally burning in front of her. Because that was heartbreaking for me. Like, it really was rough because the grandmother made a conscientious decision not only to let her whole family die, which, again, from a time travel standpoint, why would y'all write this like this? Because I'm not knocking if the book was like this or whoever did script it.
It is not.
But the reality that you're forcing these African American people that already go through hell in the handbag to choose to die in such a horrific way to preserve and maintain, something later on. Okay, I get it. I get the symbolism behind that. You're going to sacrifice everything and anything for, a future. But I feel like that could have been done or written a different way, in my personal opinion. But again, to Lucas's point, when it came to Letty, look, in episode 1, Letty is a track star, bruh. She walked out of that guy's house a track star, okay? And she knew, now granted, like if I saw that and I just kind of, stayed in the house as the house burning down, I get it. I don't understand why she didn't just walk a little tail down, with the book, but whatever. But the reality is I can understand the trauma behind that. What I cannot understand, as Montrose is sitting there, like Montrose in his head is like, yo, I'm probably just gonna die here. Like the portal's gone. He don't know. He's traumatized. I get his trauma. And he's sitting there looking out the window, and you just see Letty just power walking. Bro, if I was Montrose, I would have busted the window. I said, get your tail on. What you doing? Come on.
It would have been tail. If I'd have busted it, it would not have been tail. Tail would not have been the word I'd have used there.
Bruh, I would have been
you
like,
don't get your
what doing? Because it doesn't make sense why she's walking. Like, if I would be, look, that type of trauma, you don't walk through. You run. You run till you get to wherever you got to go. Because on the other side, which we ain't talked about yet, which that'll probably be my negative. The reason why I'm gonna take her off the darn screen because her power walk was terrible. That made no sense. I'm straight up tell you.
I done said my piece about it. We talk about the ugly. I'm not gonna focus on it because y'all like focusing on us trashing these Lovecraft episodes because you all like it and they clearly making it for a certain audience and great, but it just didn't work as a moment. And you have an actress with the ability to make that a great moment, and they settled for an average slow walk with the slave song before the slow walk. And I know it's not a slave song, but you know exactly what I mean, because when you see the scene and the grandmother's burning up and they play that music, it's a slave song.
Yeah.
And then you have her slow walking to show just how impacted she is by everything. But then when it brings me back to realizing you can't be hurt. You had no need to stay in the house that long. No need.
None.
They're on a time frame. It's literally explained to them at the beginning. They're on a time frame.
And it doesn't make sense because, all right, I'll paint you guys a picture. Like I do direct partly. I do write. Imagine, she watches as the grandmother's is dying. And, the director's like, okay, Journey, I need you to break right now. I need you to just break. Everything in you just break. And she just, all of a sudden, just everything starts to pour out of her. She starts walking slowly out of the house as the house is just smoldering around her. She's barely making it out because the ground beneath her is just falling, right? She gets down the driveway. She sees Black people just dead on the street. Smoldering everywhere, and she knows she has to get to the town hall. So from her back, you go and you have her running as fast as she can. The camera angle pans in front of her, and you're kind of watching as her emotion just starts to guard, and she knows she has to get back because she has. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that I'm telling you, I could direct and tell you how I could make that work in such a way that she might get a freaking nomination for it. Because she's capable of doing it. I'm telling you, she's capable of doing it. It just was not that, the way that was actually done, it could have been done better. Anyway, I'm done with that. Hippolyta.
The ugly.
Hippolyta comes back.
The ugly. There we go. Let's go.
Back. Now, my issue with that, because this is a bad and an ugly for me. I got an issue with Hippolyta because her tail shouldn't have left her freaking child begin with it, bruh.
With anybody, just
she shouldn't have left her kid, period. And then she gets back from God knows where, from I don't know who knows how long these things. and she's just back, not blue hair anymore. She's just normal, and she's like, "Okay, what do I need to do? Okay, what we need to do this." I'm like, "Bro, like, get out of my face." If I was anybody there, I would have been like, "Bro, go, just get out."
No. First, you're just not gonna explain where you've been at. That's what, so you're just gonna show up. They literally use her as a MacGuffin in this episode. Like, she miraculously is the piece that puts everything together, and they don't explain any piece of it. They just leave you to your own devices to accept that she miraculously shows back up at home. Don't know why, because she was very content in the I Am episode of where she was at. But now she comes back. She sees her daughter is sickly. So she does what she does to save her. Then she tells them, we're going to go back in time to get the book. And they like, how the hell is that possible? The time machine is ruined. And she says, I have a key. So she pulls out a magical key. Then she says, I have a charge. And she pulls out the little devices in her arm that charges everything up. Like, you threw everything at one character again. Just to make your story move. That's a MacGuffin. You did it to make your story move. You literally made her a Mary Sue. How the hell is that humanly possible in this thing to make her a Mary Sue? But you did it. You did it.
So I'm gonna ask a weird, stupid question before I even comment on anything about Hippolyta, Lord Jesus. Do you think that they changed anything in the future, in the past?
Well, no, because it looks like they went out their way not to change anything. But then it brings up the other question, because they didn't change anything, but then we have the situation with Tick in the past. So if that was always supposed to happen in the past, wouldn't at one point in time you went back in the past to change that? Because other than that, how would he show up there?
Exactly. And again, the book, we know the book is preserved because the only reason why even a book at all, because she took it. But
But if you take the book, technically you change the past, because now that book is in existence. So if it's in existence, you've completely changed the past. But then they focus the whole story on don't change it is literally in-game logic. I'm gonna take something from this time period, act like it's not gonna affect anything, and we're gonna be fine. It's in-game logic, Joe.
Yeah, they ain't even had a plan to at least bring it back. They were just like, yeah, we got to do what we got to do. They just barely made it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Hippolyta. So Hippolyta gets the machine working again. Now, okay, for you guys that are purists, we're not saying that we don't know where she last was. We know she was last in space. We do know that she said that she was like, she's been around 200 plus odd years. We're not. I don't need you guys to take our word out of context. We're just going through and talking about it. But in terms of the way that this was positioned and just utilizing her, I completely agree with Lucas. Like they use her as a device to maneuver the story forward, and they use that episode that was supposed to be so impactful that y'all really loved to make it a placeholder for this. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna do the same thing for Tick's X from episode 6 in the last episode.
Yeah, well, this is clearly Lovecraft Country, episode 9, The Deadly Hollows, part 1, because this is clearly a part 1. It's clearly set up with no conclusion at all, and it's just set up the finale. This was a setup episode, but you turned a character into an entire setup character for your setup episode when it was a way. The issue has always been with Lovecraft Country. It's a way to do things. And when you're doing these time travel elements and you're doing these supernatural elements, I think I came to the conclusion that you are attempting to serve an audience that is undervalued in this space. Black folks don't know much about this space. So the bullshit y'all have been throwing at them, they can't tell the difference. So they're eating it up. But you are losing Black folks and other races who know how this stuff's supposed to work, because they're just like, it's sloppy. This whole episode, besides the great parts, you ruined a great Montrose episode with your sci-fi BS in it. And you didn't have to, though. You really didn't have to. You could have come up, if we're going to use space alien lady. We could have used her in a better way than this. And then her hair turning purple at the end, and then her arm chargy things exploding. Like it's so many better ways you could have set this up. And it's almost like you're choosing not to because the audience you're speaking to aren't used to this type of material. So you're trying to make it simplistic, but it's coming across as condescending to people who know how this could go better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, even looking at so I'll give Ruby, right? Ruby and her perception, like she was talking to Letty and telling Letty, why are you sitting there messing with your baby daddy? Like you need to get away from him.
I'm so mad you said it like
that. But I mean, the reality was that Letty was like, do you really trust Christina? Like for real? Like she, and I was like, Ruby, you know better. Like you know you can't trust this girl. Like I was like, are you fooling yourself to believe that,
you made a good point, though. Can you trust Tick and his crazy father?
Oh, of course not.
Yeah, but see, but that's what I mean. Like you have certain characters make these great points and have these moments that should be more poignant, and it still feels like you're rushing along. Like, you know what? Maybe, because episode 10 is the last episode, right?
I think that's it, yeah.
Okay. If this ends at 10 episodes, HBO, Misha Green, and them, and when I meant them, that's the people who think that this is a Jordan Peele show, but it's really more of a bad robot show, which is JJ's show. You should have did 13 episodes if you stop at 10. Because a lot of these plot points you have rushed along, and if you just gave it a little bit more time to breathe, you have the actors. So that's why I'm so confused here. You got the actors to make this really great. You could have made this a great episode. Instead, you went to a time period and back to a massacre that was brilliantly done by a show that you have been compared to since the day you were announced. Do you not understand the trappings you put yourself in? If your Tulsa episode does not measure to their Tulsa episode, and it doesn't, you showed more of it, and yet it was less impactful. How is that humanly possible?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we were saying. The execution of the science fiction elements do not add to the compromising flaws. Like whenever they do that and they do something really well, they add in the supernatural element, and it's just not naturally flowing with the way that this was scripted, and so it just doesn't work. Even though I can talk about all the great things that do work, and I can talk about all the capabilities of the actors, I can talk about all the capabilities of the specific moments, but do they naturally flow as a whole as an episode?
Nope.
No. And that's where a lot of the issue comes in, because again, I brought up the Ruby situation because it was actually a very interesting conversation, and she had also very equally interesting conversation with Christina, and Christina was like, "Bruh, look, this, that, or the other." And my reserve from that was kind of like, "Yo, Ruby ain't vibing, bro. Like Ruby ain't."
But
Ruby don't care.
Even not focusing on that, what happened if you gave the scenes with Christina a little bit more room to breathe? About the logic that every time she turns into this character, she turns into William, the real William dies a little more. Like, just give us time with some of these characters. We don't have to rush through everything. And that's what amazing. In 10 episodes, it feels like you've rushed through most of this stuff. Yeah. And when you do that and you don't give your actors time to breathe, it messes up your end product. And that's what's happening with Lovecraft Country. The end product is not what it should be. And it's not that way because of the people who are making it are rushing through it. We told you blanks to make a Mercedes Benz, and we ended up with a Kia Optima. That's the problem.
So the episode for me, as a whole, like I definitely had a lot of issues with it. Was it entertaining? Yes, on certain levels, and I think that it was easily one of my favorite Montrose episodes. And so I take more, I guess, with the good than the bad. But it's sad because I feel like that the whole episode could have been one of their best. And a lot of times with a lot of shows, the 9th episode isn't. Like, but this had the capability of being one of their best episodes. It's just, I don't know, choices, man. It's choices. And I don't know, I really don't know how this is going to end. But I'm going to ask you this, Lucas.
Nope. I'm not answering if it relates to the book. Nope.
No. It's not got nothing to do with the book.
Okay.
So,
Okay, cool.
when and if this gets renewed for a second season?
It's a if on the not side right now because the ratings aren't as good as they hoped for. So,
yeah.
But if it gets renewed, let's get all new characters and a new story of a different section in Lovecraft country. I would say that, but damn it, then he has a book in his pocket that has to explain a lot. Like, in all honesty, this can't be just 10 episodes. It's way too much story left for 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Unless you shoehorn at the end.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like they introduced the book because they had to give where the end is. And they yet have shown what happened to Atticus when he was in the future. And I think that was intentional. So I'm led to believe that there's some other stuff that's coming. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
This is one of the better episodes of the season, for sure. Just strictly based off of Montrose. Strictly based off of him. Yeah. It's easier better than 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8. And 8. It's better than all of those. Like it's not better than 5 to me. 6 is the Korean episode. It's not better than that. And it maybe better than 1 too. So yeah, it's not better than the 2 middle episodes.
So wait. So what are we gonna rank? What's the best episode then? Because I know what my favorite
6.
is. Yep.
Episode 6. Episode 6 is the best episode of Lovecraft.
And that's crazy because it doesn't have anything to do with Lovecraft. Like, I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
It's episode 6. Then, matter of fact, let me re-rank that. Episode 6, episode 9, then episode 5. Those are the best episodes. Episodes. Yeah. And I may give the edge. I may give the edge to 5 over 9 because I loved her episode with the transformation.
Bruh, look, 5 was fire. Like if I kind of was like,
yep. I would say
this is the weird thing. This is the weird thing. If I took episode 5, 6, and 9, I just showed that to somebody. You know, they ain't even got to look at the rest of the season, and they would be able to. They just be to watch them.
Yep, and you'll be perfectly fine.
Like, good. They be good. So that's one of the positives about the show, but at the same time, it's also a negative because
it's literally 6 other episodes that we have just not cared about mentioning, but we mentioned those 3.
Yeah, but make sure you guys hear us. This is one of the better episodes, but we are really, truly being critics about this and letting you guys know that, you know, if this does get a second season, we have to demand more. We have to want this to be more. Mm-hmm. If this truly is going to be, you know, connected to who we are as a race of people and what we're demanding for is, of course, perfection and to be noticed, then we got to push it to the edge and back.
Let me should go. And I don't mean let her go mean fire. No. I don't mean let her go by firing her. When I say let her go, I know what she can do with a show if she has a most of the control over it. I watched a slave show because she had most control over it and it was entertaining. Let her go. Let her take the reins. I don't care if Jordan Peele's involved in this. I prefer him not to be. Let Misha go. Let her do her thing. And I guarantee you the second season will blow the first season away.
So I'm going to say this, and this is, you might agree with me, you might not, I'm not sure. But does this not feel more like, a lot of people don't know this, JJ's show?
Hey, I said it already. I said people always pay attention and say, well, it's a Jordan Peele show. This feels like a bad robot show. It feels like one, and I don't think people are picking up on it. It feels like a bad robot show. Or, I mean, but you know, some people may feel like a Jordan Peele show. I saw Hunters, And that show was horrible in a time period. So maybe this is a Jordan Peele show. Either way, neither one of them are a good thing. Let Misha do her thing.
Yeah. But I do feel like some of the limitations and some of the lack of understanding of what, we perceive that we should get or what we should look for, what should be presentable to us, comes with something being tied to JJ. And that's not a knock on JJ, but it's a quality difference. And I don't know. I think you might be right. Maybe they should just let her do her thing, and maybe if she proves herself, they can. But
she's already proven herself. She has a hit show. That's good. Guess what? Jordan Peele doesn't. She's proven herself. Let her go. Let her do her thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about Monkey Paw. I won't see nothing else but Monkey Paw. Nothing.
Well, we're gonna go. Hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler review. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you're nice in the comment section.
And we have one episode left. Just one. And
y'all ain't gotta worry about us no more.
Y'all remember how Nelson Mandela felt when he knew it was his last day in prison? That's how I feel, knowing we only have one episode left. Set me free. Set me free.
I was gonna say, give us free, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen.